When you think of the Elder Scrolls games, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Well, besides the smart fridge version of Skyrim, if you're anything like me, it's probably the absolutely bonkers modding scene that's existed for the series for, well, as long as this series has been around. So I decided to go back and take a look at every main Elder Scrolls game and see what kind of mods I can toss at them. Oh, and if you're unfamiliar with any of these games, go check out my video where I played every Elder Scrolls game. Before we start though, I want to point out that I had to download some of these older mods from some really unfamiliar websites. These kinds of sites could have been trying to harvest my IP address or other sensitive data. Was I worried though? Nah, because I was protected by Surfshark VPN. Surfshark VPN is a virtual private network that helps keep your online identity safe. It encrypts your online data and helps secure your personal info. Like, let's say you're on a public Wi-Fi connection. Did you know that bad actors can see your sensitive data on public Wi-Fi? You can use Surfshark to protect your data, or you can use it like I did to secure yourself from possibly sketchy websites that might have nefarious intentions with your data. Another great use for it, and my personal favorite use for it, is streaming services. Like, let's say that you have a TV show you want to watch on your favorite streaming service, but it's not available in your country. With Surfshark, you can access that content regardless of where you are with a simple click of a button. Oh, and did I mention that Surfshark has these really helpful personal data alerts? Listen, if you're watching this video, you're probably connected to the internet, and if you're connected to the internet, your personal data is vulnerable. Surfshark VPN is an excellent way to protect your data so that you can browse the web without any worries. And what's cool is that if you use my code NEOSCI, you can get 83% off and 3 extra months for free. There's also a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk at all to try it out. Protect your online presence with Surfshark VPN using my code NEOSCI or the link in the description below. Thank you, Surfshark, for sponsoring this video. Alright, let's dive right in. So first off, we have the Elder Scrolls Arena. This game is pretty hard and super clunky by modern standards, but it's definitely got some charm. Right off the bat, I can see that the mods here are kind of limited, but there's still some quality of life stuff here that I can use. What you're looking at right now is the vanilla game with no mods. Let's throw on some quality of life stuff. These mods modify the UI to be a bit cleaner and also completely replace the default font. I know, it's not that much different, but hey, baby steps. Let's do something a bit different. This mod is called Shrouded Past. It's pretty much just an alternate start mod. When you first install it, it actually gives you difficulty options. You all know that I'm amazing at video games, so obviously I chose option 5, the master option, since I'm super good at games and there's no way I'd pick anything less. So, this is a different starting area, but it's still kind of a nondescript dungeon. Honestly, I was kind of hoping to start in, I don't know, a random town or something. I did eventually make it to a town though, but you know what? Let's do something completely off the wall instead. This mod, by the same author as the last mod, is called The Elder Scrolls Rampage, and is literally just every level from Bethesda's Terminator Rampage game ported into the Elder Scrolls Arena. It even replaces the music, which is excellent by the way. Unfortunately, the enemies are Elder Scrolls enemies, and the levels just aren't as interactive as the original Terminator game, but this is still pretty cool and actually super impressive. Alright, let's move swiftly on. We're in Daggerfall, baby! Alright, so what you're looking at here is the vanilla Daggerfall game, but the super talented modding community has actually completely re-implemented the entire game engine into Unity, which by itself includes a whole host of improvements. This changes stuff like resolution options, simplified controls, and just overall better performance. Know what else it does though? Adds a completely full-featured mod manager directly into the interface. All the mods you see here are going to be using Daggerfall Unity. For this one, I'm gonna focus on visual mods. Let's see just how far we can push a game from 1996. First, we have a mod called Dream. I've also added in a couple of extra ones too, like the one that makes the skybox function like a real skybox. This is nice, but I think we can push it further. Look at that. Grass. Look at it gently flowing in the breeze. I've also added mods that change the terrain, add roads and hills, and even new natural features too. Daggerfall has a massive map, and a lot of it is just flat land, so this mod does wonders for the world variety. But okay, we've made it look pretty outside. What about the insides of places? That's where the Taverns Redone mod comes in, along with the hand-painted models mod, which replaces a ton of the in-game models with way more modern ones. This actually looks really cool. It's not hyper-realistic, but it definitely does feel like you're in a fun, detailed fantasy world. You know what'd be even cooler though? Having all of this in VR. Okay, I didn't see a VR mod, but it's only a matter of time before one comes out, and I cannot wait. Oh look, we're in Morrowind now. So to start, I'm gonna show you what you can do with just normal Morrowind. I installed a couple of visual mods, but nothing too crazy. I also added in a mod called Skyrim UI Overhaul, but all this seems to do is make the UI black and gray. I don't know if I'd call this a Skyrim UI, and I think I'd prefer the original to this anyways. One of the big mods here though is an increase to the view distance. This is looking pretty good. There's also a huge mod called the Morrowind Code Patch, and it has a bajillion options for patching bugs, game mechanics, changing the interface, and more. I stuck with the default options, but this thing lets you do a lot to customize your game. But let's say you install a ton of Morrowind graphics mods, but it just isn't enough for you. Well, remember how Daggerfall had Daggerfall Unity? Morrowind actually has something similar called Open Morrowind, and it also has built-in options for increasing the game's capabilities and a mod loader too. What's even better is that some mods actually play nice with both the original Morrowind and Open Morrowind, though your mileage may vary there. So I kind of went overboard here. I installed a lot of mods. I mean, look at this. Some would argue that this isn't exactly the game's creative vision, and honestly, I did take a pretty hefty performance hit to get this footage, even on a really nice machine. You know what though? This looks really good in my opinion. But hey, graphics mods aren't the end-all be-all of modding. How about a mod that takes you into Skyrim? Yeah, this mod is called Skyrim Home of the Nords, and it is insanely in-depth. It has a chunk of the Skyrim province with more apparently on the way, new NPCs, and a bunch of quests. Plus, apparently this mod is based on the lore for Skyrim and not directly on the map from the actual game, which is super neat, and it means that the Skyrim that you'll see in this mod will possibly look completely different from the Skyrim that we have in the newer game. Of course, what if you're the kind of person that wants to play Morrowind but doesn't want to play an Elder Scrolls game? Welcome to Starwind, a total conversion mod for Morrowind that completely transforms the game into a Star Wars game. It has a unique world, unique characters, unique races, and completely new items, full voice acting, and a whole story with a ton of quests. This is seriously cool and gives off massive Knights of the Old Republic vibes, which makes sense since it's set during the same time frame. For real though, if you haven't tried them, give both Skyrim Home of the Nords and Starwind a shot. The amount of work that had to have gone into these mods is unreal. And now we're in Cyrodiil, so right off the bat, I'm not even gonna bother with graphics mods or anything like that yet. No, the first thing I'm gonna do is fix these faces. Ugh. Much better. I've also installed a mod that changes the start of the game and throws you right into it by having you arrive via boat, sort of like Morrowind. Now we can do a cool graphics mod. Alright, I've installed the better cities, natural environments, and unique landscapes mods. Wow. Look at those trees. I actually kind of like this look. It makes the map seem a lot more dense, but in a good way. The natural vegetation complements the stone structures around it. Alright, let's look at what is probably my favorite Oblivion mod ever. This mod is called Midas Magic Spells of Aurum and adds a little shop here run by a guy named Midas. Of course, there's a whole process for unlocking each spell outlined in these books, but I also could just be a filthy cheater and get all the spells at once. Nice. Sure, the mod insults me, but I think that's worth having this much power. I actually don't even remember what most of these spells do, come to think of it. Like, what's Astral Combat? Oh, imagine you're this guard for a second. Some dude rushes up to you and in the blink of an eye, you're floating on a rock in space. And this dude challenges you to combat. Poor guy doesn't stand a chance against my asphyxiation spell though. Let's look at Midas Bound Lightsaber, which seems to do nothing. Oh, okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down, Midas. Well, now that everyone hates me, let's try the overpowered spells. Death Bolt, anyone? Bet you can guess what this one does. You know what you'd never guess though? Midas Confoundus. Guess what it does?
Read any good books lately?
Afternoon. I've been trying to get through Mysterious Akavir.
Alright, maybe that was a fluke.
Be seen.
Oh. Nope. I have no idea what this does. Oh cool, an actual Midas spell. I have no idea if these people ever actually recover from this or not. Hey look, I'm a bird. Okay, enough of that. Let's move on to Skyrim. Alright, I could install a ton of visual mods for Skyrim. I could. Or I could add this mod that puts a bunch of interactive cats all over the place. Okay, I guess I could also install a ton of visual mods. Look at that breathtaking beauty. This mod allows you to challenge the people of the land to a duel. But what I'm really interested in trying are some of the newer combat overhaul mods, especially mixed in with some of the unique movement mods. First, there's true directional movement, which completely changes how movement works in this game, allowing you to move in all directions rather than just strafe in the third person. On top of that, it adds the ability to lock onto targets and fight in a more modern way. There's even a mod to add in combat dodges for both you and your opponents, leading to way more engaging fights. So for most Elder Scrolls games, there's usually some really great and in-depth mods for followers and companions. I decided to go with the Rufus mod, which is a companion in the form of your long-lost son. Upon saving him from a witch's cave, he begins to adventure with you. Oh, and I forgot to mention that everyone hates him. On top of that, you can't get rid of him, no matter how hard you try to dismiss him. This little guy will show up and break your immersion every single time. I've got to be honest, some of this dialogue is actually really good. He was so annoying the witches didn't even want to consume his flesh. It's great, but I still don't feel like I've taken these mods far enough. No, we need to increase the stakes. Okay, I've downloaded the Baked Beans mod, and this is pretty good. Let's see how I can make use of this. Ah yes, I want to get into the College of Winterhold, but this lady is in the way. I have a simple solution. Thanks, gotta run. Oh right, the gate's locked. Alright, one more mod. This one does... You know what? I think that's enough modding for today. So the incredible part about all these mods that I've shown you here is that for the huge number of mods I've already installed, I've still barely even scratched the surface of what can be done in these games. In fact, I'd love to even try this again if you guys want to see it. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more modding content like this, and if I missed a mod that you really like, let me know that too, and maybe I'll be able to cover it in another video. Really quickly, I just want to thank my patrons, including Melancholis in the Omega Gamer tier, and That's Just Ash, and Star Wars Pun Megan in the Played Every Game tier. And, of course, all of these wonderful people you see here. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, definitely check out both of my previous Elder Scrolls videos, where I played every single game in the series. Alright, again, thanks for watching, and as always, have a fantastic day.